Namaste, this is Dr. Karishma Ahuja. Do you know you become what you eat? You start thinking what you eat. Start becoming conscious of the impurities that may exist when you are eating, because every time you eat, you are not only contributing to your own physiology, your body, but also the very food you eat is becoming your thought. Let me, my dear friends, explain this point to you through a short story. There lived in a village a very pious Brahmin who was also a great scholar. He had also a very pure wife. Both husband and wife always engaged in worship, in chanting of God's name, in meditation practices. This noble couple was known far and wide for their character. One day, a sannyasi called Nityananda came to his door seeking alms. This made the Brahmin very, very happy. He was always ready and willing to help and serve others. That day, whatever he had, he gave this sannyasi. But he also invited the monk to come the next day to have dinner with him, as he was very keen to show his hospitality to pure men like this sannyasi. So next morning he made all the preparations to serve dinner to this sannyasi. But at the last minute, due to her inability to serve the guest, his wife could not prepare the food. At that moment, a neighbor volunteered to cook the meal for this sannyasi. And so, this lady, the neighbor, was brought in and introduced into the kitchen. The couple was at least happy that now the food would be cooked and the sannyasi would return happy. Everything went off very well and as desired. Everyone was happy because they knew they did the best under these circumstances. However, there was one issue which bothered the sannyasi greatly. For some unknown reason, while he was eating the food that was served to him by the Brahmin couple, he was drawn by an overpowering desire to steal a silver cup that was placed near his plate. In spite of his best efforts, in spite of his inner intent to not fall in for this desire, still the idea won him over. He could not stop himself. The sannyasi took the cup, stole it, hid it inside the folds of his robe, and he continued casually conversing with the Brahmin. After the meal, he knew he had stolen the silver cup, so he hurriedly returned to his dwelling, lest somebody would discover his act and he may be caught. But that night, that sannyasi could not get even a second of sleep. His conscience pricked him constantly. He realized, what has he done? He felt he has brought great disgrace to his guru, as well as to the ancient enlightened sages, all the sannyasis from who he had invoked all these precious mantras that he recited. he felt terribly ashamed of himself. He could not manage even a second of rest. And so, as soon as the morning came, he went to this Brahmin, fell at his feet, and gave him the stolen article with tears of repentance. Everyone around there got to know of this. There were many people who gathered around the home of this Brahmin. Everyone was wondering how such a noble, great sannyasi could stoop so low. Then someone suggested it might be that the person who cooked the food may have transmitted this fault, this evil thought to this sannyasi through the food that was prepared. When they examined the history of the neighbor who had come to prepare the food because the Brahmin's wife could not, to their utter astonishment, they found that she was actually a thief. She would often steal things from other people's houses. The tendency to steal had, by subtle contact, affected even the food she prepared. This is the reason why spiritual aspirants are advised very often to only cook food that is prepared by them and not by anybody else. In fact, often in advanced stages of spiritual practices, many of these aspirants and seekers and masters only live on fruits so that they don't take any negative thought that has come to them from the food that is prepared by someone else. You see, to purify the mind and the intellect, in order to cleanse our energy and to stay in good positive vibration, the first caution we must take is regarding the food we intake. And this is not a small matter, my dear friends. Whether you want to progress on the spiritual path, whether you want to improve your life, whether you want to stay happy, peaceful and joyful, whether you want to lead a happy, prosperous, healthy life, whatever it is that you wish to do, you need to exercise some caution on the food. One of the best things we can do is to bless the food before it is consumed, so that whatever impurities may have got into the food, they may be washed away, taken away by the blessing that we are giving it. We must be extremely mindful of not speaking anything negative when we eat. We must hold healthy thoughts in the mind when we are cooking the food. And especially when we are eating the food, we must always bless the food, think of the divine, think of pure positive energy, and only then consume the food. If you liked this video, then share it with others. Subscribe to this channel for more tools, more practices, many more lessons. This is Dr. Karishma Ahuja wishing you all the very best. Namaste.